Molini, and welcome to yet another episode of Conversations with Lankosi. Now, this is the news commentary section where we will be offering insightful commentary and exploring various perspectives on the stories that shape our world. Today, we'll be focusing on a highly controversial scandal that has a potential to shake up South Africa's political landscape: the tricky UIF scandal and how it impacts President Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership. Let's dive in. Before we dive into the political ramifications, let's briefly recap what the UIF scandal entails. Before I get into that, guys, the UIF stands for Unemployment Insurance Fund, which is a government agency responsible for providing financial assistance to South African workers who became unemployed due to various circumstances, including the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it was revealed that a whopping 5.7 billion rands intended for relief funds was siphoned off through fraudulent claims and corrupt practices. This shocking revelation has understandably led to widespread public outrage. In Mr. Mthunzi Mdwaba's own words, the scandal was leaked in a Sunday Times report last year in December. The UIF Department's Director General Thobile Lamati and UIF Commissioner Teboho Maruping conceded that the deal was an untested concept around that time and that it had been rejected by the Public Investment Corporation, which invests in UIF funds. Last month, in an article published on Times Live, it had been reported that a group called the Public Interest South Africa demanded a full investigation into the irregular 5 billion rands unemployment insurance fund deal, which involves senior officials in our political landscape and the former chair of Productivity South Africa, Mr. Mthunzi Mdwaba. The group expressed concern after reports about these allegations of serious misconduct made their way onto the pages of the Sunday Times. I stand with them because we have been exposed to different sides of these allegations, which raises an alarm on the reality being that shady contracts are awarded so as to ensure that the pockets of those in charge are fattened. I mean, the public mixed reactions and the trips to case openings by the alleged masterminds is weird, if you ask me. I mean, if you weren't a part of it, why remove those you allegedly tried to bribe for this tricky deal that was thrown out? Why are we publicly reacting to things we did in private, unless, of course, it may be a failed attempt at looting that backfired, and the leak was an opportunity to spin the story to favor the implicated ones who are now tainted. Politicians remain a pandemic, not all, but a majority, and the same applies for their business partners that they sign these shady deals with. The damage control may either save or further destroy the president's anti corruption facade, which may impact the ANC's performance in next year's election. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is the leader of the ANC, which is the ruling party in South Africa and of the country as a whole, is within when it comes to this mess because it is caused by his senior officials, right? These are senior officials in his cabinet. These are people that are leading under his rule. These are people that are also inside his faction when it comes to his own party's politics. So he then becomes the center of attention here because, again, hey, wait, why is he at the forefront? Well, point number one would be that the president has his own stance on corruption, right? Which is known to us all. Now, for us to better understand why he is the center, why he becomes the center of attention here, um, due to some small digging that I did into his track record, when the president came into office in 2018, he made it clear, that He was here to combat corruption, and that would be a central part of his political agenda. Now, this led to the establishment of the SIU, known as the Special Investigating Unit, to investigate corruption related cases. And it also led to the implementation of reforms to strengthen state institutions such as the NPA, hence his seemingly strong reaction to anything that is corruption related, which is in line with his broader anti-corruption efforts. At point number two, criticism and challenges, right? Now, despite his stated commitment to fighting corruption, the president has faced criticism for not doing enough to hold his own party members accountable. Some argue that his efforts are often overshadowed by his political alliances within the ANC, and that senior officials implicated in corruption scandals continue to hold influential positions. These challenges have cast doubt on the president's ability to effectively tackle corruption in the country. And so, yes, it does have an impact on his leadership. You see, the UIF scandal has undoubtedly impacted the president um, and his leadership, both domestically and internationally. On a domestic level, it has shaken the public's trust in the government's ability to manage public finances and provide relief during times of crisis. This loss of trust can erode support for the ANC and potentially hinder the party's electoral prospects. Now, according to opinion polls that were conducted after the UIF scandal broke, there has been a sharp decline in the public's confidence in President Ramaphosa's leadership. A survey conducted by a prominent research organization indicated that a significant number of respondents believed that the president had failed to adequately address corruption within his party. This decline in public perception can impact his credibility as a leader and may necessitate swift action to regain public trust. Also, complicating matters further, the UIF scandal may have also recharged existing factional dynamics within the African National Congress. It is no secret that various factions within the party have competing interests and diverging views on how to handle corruption allegations. As a result, President Ramaphosa may continue to face internal political pressure from factions seeking to discredit his leadership and undermine his efforts to eradicate corruption. Now, this could aid the president in his path or on his path to rebuilding, despite the challenges that were caused by the scandal. The president still has an opportunity to rebuild public trust and strengthen his leadership. Better late than never, right? Well, I say this because one key strategy would be to prioritize transparency and accountability by ensuring that a thorough investigation with regards to the scandal um, actually happens, swiftly removing and prosecuting those responsible, regardless of their political connections. Two, another important aspect of rebuilding trust lies in implementing systemic reforms to prevent corruption in the future. Now, this could involve enhancing the whistleblower protection, strengthening oversight mechanisms, and pushing for judicial reforms that expedite corruption cases. By taking decisive action and showing a commitment to reform, President Ramaphosa could begin to restore the public's faith in his leadership. This tricky UIF scandal has an impact on President Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership. Corruption scandals such as this one surrounding the UIF can leave an indelible mark on his already foggy tenure as a leader. Only time will tell if the president can actually rise above this crisis and rebuild the public's trust in his leadership.
That concludes today's video. Remember, the goal is not just to inform, but to inspire critical thinking and foster a diverse exchange of ideas. I appreciate the time you've spent with me today and look forward to bringing you more engaging content in future episodes. As always, be sure to follow us. Conversations with Lankosi on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and also our YouTube channel, Chonga. You subscribe, you follow or you subscribe, light the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any new episodes, right? And then please do visit our website, Lankosi Writes, and share your thoughts and feedback. Enkosini for listening to the Conversations with Lankosi podcast. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered.